Why do you create?
I create because I want to help women live their healthiest, happiest lives.
Today we sit in conversation with a woman who is creating a better space and a better life for other women and people within her sphere of contact. She's a nutritionist and she is a fitness coach, and I'm happy to have Gbemi Giwa join me in conversation on She Creates. Hi.
Hi, thank you for having me.
We talk creativity. I've spoken to other women who talk about wellness. I think being a nutrition and or fitness and nutrition coach sort of falls within the wellness industry, so to speak. Do you feel pressure to look a certain way to sell that narrative?
I feel like there is an expectation. Do I feel pressure? No, because I always say, I only do what I like to do, and I genuinely believe in living a healthy, active life. I don't feel like I owe that to anyone. I owe it to myself. So if anything, the pressure would be internal. But I mean, occasionally, like, people used to call me fit foodie. Like, they've called me fit foodie for years. So maybe I'll be out with my family and my sister will be like, oh, are you really going to eat the amala? Fit foodie. And I'm like, yeah, it does. Like, but I didn't tell you anything. I just exist. But sometimes people put labels on me, but it's fine. I don't care.
You're more sure about the lifestyle, so to speak, that you live. When you say living fit and active, what exactly does that mean?
I think it means moving intentionally, nourishing yourself intentionally, and creating spaces or space in your life to give back to yourself. A lot of women really suffer with that. They want to take care of, work, family, friends, everything and everyone first before them. So for me, intentional living kind of like ties into active living, where you find a movement you enjoy. A lot of people want to go to the gym. The gym is not for everyone. If you like dancing, if you like to go for walks, I always say find a movement that you enjoy, because that really helps us connect to ourselves. Our bodies are meant to move. There has to be something you like. Even if it's tennis or horse riding, find something, move. And then when it comes to food, it's just, choosing real food, choosing good for you food, eating in a way that fills you, that gives you energy. A lot of the time people say, oh, they're eating, this sugary snack and treat. I believe in like a balanced lifestyle. Right. But ultimately, we do find that when you eat all of those things that you don't necessarily aren't healthy, you feel the effects. Like, you feel kind of meh.
You feel it before it actually manifests?
Yeah. No, you actually do. Like, haven't you ever like eating like or overeating like cake or something really sweet and then felt like a little bit weird after? The issue though is that when you've moved so far from that like starting point where we're so used to like eating junk, it's harder for your body to detect. But the moment that you detox and you come back to yourself, when you have a little bit of extra sugar, it's so much easier for you to actually tell. Our bodies are so smart, they're so resilient, and the moment we start nourishing them the right way, we can easily tell when something is not right for us, especially as women. I
hear that. So, I have to touch a little bit on this, because I would like to get your take on it. No woman wants to be caught on her bad hair day, but women are taking appearance to the extreme. They're following every fitness and nutrition fad they can find out there, and also doing that without precaution, without consultation. So how can we tell what is safe or right for us?
Yeah, I mean, I think we live in a world where I guess we have so much access to information, and that has now caused overload. Like, if you look today, someone is saying bread is bad for you, another person is saying like fruit is bad for you, another person is saying, oh, don't drink water. There's just so much out there. I think intuitively, we all know what's right from what's wrong. There's so many ways to eat healthy. There's like so many like schools of thought. Keto, being vegan, there's carnivore now. Like, every couple of years.
I've heard of paleo, is it?
Paleo, yes. Yeah. So every couple of years, like, there's always a new way of eating and doing what's right. When I started my journey, and this is something I'm so passionate about, I thought the only way to be healthy was eating smoothies and salads. And I was like, what about Eba? What about our food? And that is why I've worked so hard over the years to actually create what I like to call just healthy Nigerian cuisine, right? That's the concept behind my restaurant, this concept behind my coaching method. It's our foods are not inherently bad. The way that we cook these foods, like the amount of oils that we use, it's all about learning how to balance foods. When you get the basics of nutrition, eat protein, eat carbs, eat good fat, and then, lots of fiber, micronutrients in like your veggies, you are good. So I would say focus on eating real foods. Less of the packaged stuff. If it comes in a pack and you can't really read the ingredients, probably has added sugar, you probably don't need it. You're better off going to the market, buying food there, move intentionally, drink lots of water, and sleep well. If you follow these 4 basics, you won't need to buy, the next, people will say this herb and supplement is going to change your life. This tea is going to, you don't need all of that. Just get the basics and you'll be fine.
So again, I'm going to touch a little bit about this because I think it's something that we're seeing rise more, and we're also seeing that exhibit more within the creative space. So this is about the recent spike of the BBLs and the BBBs and the whatever it is that they're called, and invasive cosmetology. It is part and parcel of the life that women in the creative space live. It's as if almost every female content creator you can find out there is now chasing the hourglass figure and unrealistic body goals to fit this Instagram life. And I'm curious to know why you think that is.
Okay, so I think there have always been body standards. I think especially women in creative spaces who are often in the limelight, there's always been some sort of representation as to what we should look like. There've always been standards of beauty. And obviously now it's just more in our faces, right? I mean, I think like 20, 30 years ago, you had to go to a show to see a star. You had to like really be out of your way to see these like high standards of beauty. But now all you have to do is open your phone and it's just people telling you, oh, you're not pretty enough. You don't look good enough. You're not talented enough. There's a lot of pressure. I feel like the reason why I think that is so rampant is, everybody wants to be beautiful, right? Like everybody wants we want to have it all. We want money, we want fame, we want beauty. And it's just normal human nature to want those kind of things. And that in itself is not a problem. I feel like it's so easy to get lost in the trends.
Yeah.
There's a real thing to be said about like really coming to yourself, pouring into yourself, understanding that, beauty is a lot, but it's not also everything. And then defining what beauty means to you. Because if you keep on scrolling, like there's, today there's BBLs, but now I don't know if you've seen, but like people are now wanting to be skinny again, right? Like thick is no longer in because the Kardashians have taken out their BBLs and people are now on Ozempic. Like it's always going to be something else,
It's always going to be something else.
So it's just all about that internal, like, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for?
Is it a battle? Is it an internal realization? Is it an internal awareness? Is it an internal acceptance of
I think acceptance is a huge part of it, and love is also a huge part of it. I'm not the person to tell you, I'm not the coach that will tell you, oh, sit down there and don't work on I work in the health industry. I understand the need for women wanting to accentuate their beauties, I understand the need for people wanting to look, I guess, better than their peers. But also, even in the creative industry, it does afford you better opportunities, right? So I will say, be mindful, do your research, and don't get yourself in more than you can handle. And also, if you do these things from a place of like self-hate, that procedure will never be enough. I have so many friends who've had multiple procedures done, and it's never enough. They always want to go back in and fix more. And the stats show once you do a BBL or like a breast augmentation, you're more likely to go in for like 2 or 3 more surgeries. Like it's never enough. And then you see like I wouldn't call them plain, just women who radiate inner beauty. They just show up and they exist and they're just beautiful, but you can't even put a finger on what, it's not their ass, it's not the ass, it's just something within. And that comes from confidence, it comes from pouring into yourself. And if you do feel ultimately that you would like to enhance certain things, I would say, go to the gym, go on a weight loss plan. And if you really feel like you want the BBL,
all the best to you.
Literally that.
We're not, this is not to put down anyone who has done the procedures. There are people who, if it's something that you're doing to make yourself feel better, that's great. But there is something inherently that if you feel you need to fix, that can't be fixed if you don't go inside first. And doing all of that only just is more like a distraction. It just takes you away from that internal healing
and
addressing struggle.
The rotten wound,
exactly.
Right? It doesn't address the root cause.
So just make sure that you're getting enough I don't know what it is, advice from your doctors. Get therapy. Therapy is also important. But this is not putting anybody down. But anyway, let's move on from that conversation. How would you say that creativity and self-care intersect in your work, and how does that help you help your clients?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's so funny, as someone, and even doctors will say the same thing, because I work with a lot of women's health. Like, my job demands me caring for a lot of women all the time. Like, my clients have me on speed dial. So sometimes it's easy for me to get immersed in my work and forget about pouring into myself. And it's taking me a really long time to come to a place where I can afford to do those things. Again, as an entrepreneur and someone who has like worked so hard over the years, I'm not going to lie and say there weren't times when I really didn't give it, about, I just wanted to make sure that my work was done. And sometimes you go through these seasons where work comes first. But I would ultimately say that even within those seasons, you can find time to prioritize yourself. It doesn't have to be, I watch these like excessive morning routines of people doing like 5 hours in the sun and then pouring. And I'm like, who does that? Who has time for this? You know what I mean? Like, realistically speaking, most people don't. And this is, again, that comparison issue. So if you're able to take 30 minutes, if it means waking up early, I work with a lot of moms who, again, they don't really have that time, but like finding space and choosing your priority. I think the issue more is you're prioritizing everything else above you. But the moment you say to yourself, I matter, and if I do this for myself, it means I'm able to give more to other people. It's just a really small reframe that helps me show that, okay, if I do this for myself, I'll be able to perform better at everything else. So that's really the balance that I try to create.
Thank you, Gbemi, for that. I think, look, I truly believe that, you can't speak about creativity or being able to express yourself creatively without speaking about how you express yourself internally. And wellness, mental health, fitness, nutrition. Those are all things that are important to a creative's life and the journey of a creative, even just in terms of being healthy enough to do the work that you do and to do the work that you love. And I guess if I could sum it up, how does the content that you create become a tool for empowering others and empowering yourself?
Yeah, so for me, I look at content creation as representation. So again, when I started my journey, like, I started my fitness journey when I was 16 and I didn't live in Nigeria. So a lot of what I was seeing was not a reflection of, I guess, African wellness. I feel like that's something that we're now like trying to define. So I've seen wellness and what it looks like for a lot of like white women, and that was the standard. And it was really hard for me to replicate what that looks like for, I guess, the African woman.
Right.
Especially when, like, in my household growing up, it just felt like everything was done. We did stuff for my dad. I just didn't really see my mom putting herself first like that. Right. You know what I mean? So for me, it's becoming, just showing people that, okay, actually, I can eat eba and I can still have abs, I can go to the gym. And it's actually important because people feel like they can't eat Nigerian food. I felt that way. And it might seem like a small thing, but you have so many people who feel like, oh, this food is bad. And we don't understand how much food holds power over our anxiety and our emotions, especially when we're sad, we want to eat more. When we're this, we want to eat more. So for me, it's all about showing people that you can live a balanced life. Wellness doesn't have to look a certain way. It's also attainable. And it doesn't have to be the 5-hour, 6-hour routine. You can work with what you have and start where you are. That's what I'm hoping to, help people realize.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Gbemi. And in a final question, I'm going to ask you, why do you create?
I create because I want to help women live their healthiest, happiest lives. What's your why?